Whipple Family Misadventures, Book 5. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Wade was excited. It was the first week of April. The weather was starting to warm up, and the snow would be melting soon, and things were looking up. Eric Hunt had officially made the move to Green Hills, and it was his first week on the job with them. The poor guy still didn't know that both of his co-workers were raising the only alien kids on Earth that they knew of. But they had plenty of time to tell him that later. He was excited because since Eric now worked with them, he was going to be taking over the evening shift, and Wade would move to one that was earlier in the day, one that would allow him to see his kids more than just a few hours in the morning, and then be gone for the rest of the day. Like at the current moment, it was before 6 p.m. and he was on his way home. While it was his first week, Eric had several years of experience, and Wade decided he could handle a few hours by himself. Melissa knew he was coming home early tonight. The boys did not. He was almost giddy, thinking about how he was going to walk in the house several hours earlier than expected and surprise his sons. There was one little thing that dads did all over the world, and that was come home from a long day at work and be happily greeted by their kids, and Wade wanted that experience. He knew that it wasn't going to be like both would come running up to him like they were dogs or toddlers, but he really hoped at least one of his boys would be at least surprised and then happy. It was such a little thing, yet he wanted it so badly. Just the knowledge that they missed him while he was gone, and that they would be at least a little happy to see him when he came home. They both were always asleep and never awake for his normal returns. Wade parked in front of the house instead of in the garage for once. He would move his car later, but knew if he did his usual routine, both kids would hear him coming long before he opened the door. First, he sent Melissa a text that he was home, so she didn't worry, or worse, get scared by his sudden appearance, then carefully crept up to the front door, unlocked it, and swung it open.
Hello, I'm home.
Melissa stuck her head out of the kitchen.
Hi, in here. I just started making spaghetti for dinner.
He heard a noise from the hallway, and Shadow came skidding down the hallway on his skates. He then came to a stop.
Dad, you're back?
Hey, dude.
Wade held out his arms, deciding he would let the skating in the house slide for now. He was not expecting anything, but to his surprise, Shadow allowed himself to be picked up, which was pretty rare, as Shadow mostly preferred to keep both his feet on the ground, but currently snuggled against his shoulder.
How was your day?
Good. Why are you back so early?
I'm off, and I got something to tell you and your brother. Speaking of which, where is Silver?
Melissa stepped out of the kitchen, grimacing as she wiped her hands on the dish towel.
That was something I wanted to talk to you about, actually. He's in his room, where he's been most of the day. Something's upsetting him. He's been in a mood all day, and he won't talk to me. Was he alright this morning?
Frowning, Wade gently sent Shadow down. For a wild moment, it felt like he had fallen into a weird alternate reality where Shadow and Silver switched personalities. Hurriedly, he thought back to earlier, but realized he hadn't noticed. He had been so busy trying to clean the kitchen and bathroom before getting ready for work.
I'm not sure. Shadow, you want to get him for me while I take over dinner?
After Melissa had declined to stay for dinner with them, Wade hurriedly got the food to a certain point and then left it on low simmer, so he could step away. When neither of his sons reappeared in the kitchen, he decided to go check on Silver himself.
Hi, buddy.
He said gently when he found Silver sitting on the floor of their shared room, staring dully at his plush toy.
Heard you were having a rough day?
Yeah.
Silver didn't as much as glance up. Wade couldn't hide his look of concern over how much that worried him.
Did something happen today?
Silver shook his head, still not looking at him.
No, nothing happened.
He said quietly and swiped at his eyes. Confused, Wade just stared at him. He knew something was wrong. His son had no poker face and wore his emotions plainly. but he didn't know what to do when Silver didn't want to tell him what was wrong.
Okay.
Wade finally said when he couldn't think of anything else. Forcing him to talk about it didn't seem to be the right solution.
I came home early to tell you something.
That got the gray hedgehog's attention, who turned around as his ears perked.
You did?
Yeah, it's been something I've been working on for a while now, and I'm really happy about it. It's a good thing.
Silver got more and more excited with every word.
You can tell me now.
He jumped to his feet, an expectant look on his face. That was rather strange.
Okay. First, where's your brother?
He didn't want to say this twice, so made sure he had Shadow first before he gave the news.
Alright, so I'm not going to be working in the evening anymore.
Is Melissa still gonna come over?
It almost amused Wade how that was the first concern.
Yes, she's still going to be coming, but she'll be coming in the morning and I'll be back a bit after lunchtime. And then I'll be with you guys for the rest of the day. This week is the last week I'm going to be working this night schedule.
Shadow looked rather content about that news, but while Wade was speaking, Silver's expression slowly changed from excited to downcast as his ears folded down and his entire posture slumped. Without a word, he just collapsed onto the carpet and curled into a partial ball, covering his face. Stunned, Wade just blinked down at him before he realized he was crying. By now, he had learned that Silver was unable to fake tears if he wasn't upset. Perplexed, Wade slowly got down on his knees to address him.
What's wrong?
Nobody loves or cares about me.
Wade was starting to feel panicked and close to frantic as he shot a confused look towards Shadow, who only shrugged in confusion before he turned and left the room, giving them some space.
What happened?
Nothing happened.
Frowning, Wade was getting frustrated. His initial reaction was getting annoyed to order Silver to either tell him what was wrong or knock it off. He was tired. He didn't want to play a long game of 20 questions or have to pry this out of him after a long, agonizing amount of time. And then suddenly, he realized maybe what he was being told was actually correct.
Was something supposed to happen today?
Through his hiccuping sobs, Silver peered up at him through his tears, like Wade was finally saying something that made sense.
Yeah.
Reaching out, Wade pulled the little hedgehog toward him and cuddled him tenderly.
What was supposed to happen today, buddy?
My birthday. No one remembered.
His eyes widened. Wade pulled Silver away from his chest so he could look directly at him as a fresh wave of shock raced through his system.
Today's your birthday?
The gray hedgehog nodded twice and swiped at his eyes again. Suddenly, things made a lot more sense as Wade glanced down at his phone and saw the date, April 5th, and his face burned with embarrassment. If he had lived in horrible conditions all his life, then found a new family and found out that birthdays were a big deal to be celebrated and enjoyed here on Earth, and was only a kid who had clearly been looking forward to it, only for no one to remember it, he probably would have been pretty miserable and upset as well.
You didn't tell me today was your birthday.
Yes, I did. A long time ago, when I first met you, before Shadow was here.
In the kitchen, Wade could hear the burners on the stove hissing, reminding him that he didn't have the time to argue and needed to go check on the food, or they wouldn't have any spaghetti to eat.
Okay, give me 5 minutes to finish dinner, and then we'll figure this out, okay?
Hurriedly, he went back to the kitchen and was deeply relieved to find nothing was burning. His mind racing, he started moving on autopilot to finish everything up. Wade fully believed that both his kids deserve at least something nice on their birthdays, especially since, as far as he could tell, neither of them had ever celebrated it before, and both had dealt with a lot of terrible things in their past. And even if either one had, it was their first being part of a family and being here on Earth with him. It wasn't spoiling them in wanting that. Nor did he believe that his son's dark mood was something that needed to be punished or corrected. The day wasn't over yet, and Wade wasn't sending his son to bed feeling unhappy, forgotten, and unloved. Struck by a sudden idea that could help, He yanked out his phone and quickly made a call.
Hey Tom, has Sonic eaten dinner yet?
No, and I'm honestly not sure I want to know why you're asking. Also, aren't you supposed to be back at work?
Eric's there. It's fine. Today's Silver's birthday.
Wade said as he put his strainer in the sink and poured the noodles into it to drain the hot water as steam rose up around him like a curtain.
And he says he told me, but I didn't remember and wasn't aware of it until like 5 minutes ago. And I'm not letting his first birthday here as my son be terrible. Do you mind if Sonic comes over for dinner?
Sure, he won't have a present for him though. Do you want me to send him over right now?
That's fine. No, give me a minute. I'm going to run to the store real fast for a few things first anyway. And then if you guys want to come and get him in an hour or so and have a cupcake.
No dinner for us, huh?
I'm sorry, I was already cooking it when he dropped the nugget of information. I'd invite you, I swear, but I don't have enough food for 6 people and it's not like I could just…
I'm just giving you a hard time. It's fine. Maddie would love having dinner with just me tonight. I think she needs it. She's had a rough week. When should I send him over?
Finishing up dinner, Wade hurriedly thought.
In 30 minutes, I'll text you when I'm back. Thanks.
No problem. See you then.
Then he hung up the phone. Putting the finished food in a bowl and covering it with a lid, Wade thought about putting it in the fridge and decided it would be fine on the counter. He could warm it up when he got back.
Okay, boys.
He said, coming back to the living room where both kids were.
We're going to celebrate your birthday tonight, but we need a few things first and I don't want you to see what I'm getting. So Silver, can you stay here by yourself for 20 minutes and be good?
He didn't want to do that, but also was aware that for some odd reason, both his kids behaved pretty well, if only one was left home alone. It did make him wish he hadn't sent Melissa home so soon, but she was gone and they had to make it work. The gray hedgehog nodded eagerly, already looking far happier than he had a few minutes ago.
Don't open the door and just watch Netflix or something, okay? Shadow and I will be right back.
I have to come. What about dinner?
I need your help. We'll have dinner when we get back. It won't be that long, I promise.
Wade didn't really need his help, but he wasn't leaving both alone while he frantically ran out to get something for Silver. He was about to walk out the door when he realized he was still wearing his work uniform.
Just let me change real fast and then we'll go.
So, we get cupcakes?
We could get that.
Wade told him he was secretly pleased that Shadow was choosing to speak in public, even if it was only to him. Every week was a new step and getting just a little bit closer out of his shell at being actually comfortable being here. It was with that he realized he had no idea what kind of cupcake or dessert Silver might like, as the gray hedgehog would eat literally almost anything edible that was put in front of him. Growing up with food scarcity would do that. While it made Wade glad at times because it meant he wasn't picky about food, it made this more difficult. Finally, Wade just decided that seemed like Silver had enjoyed trying new food over the past few months and would likely enjoy it again. So he picked out a carton of 12 red velvet cupcakes and 2 candles to go on top.
Okay, gifts that are easy to wrap.
Wade said out loud, frantically trying to think. Shadow blinked up at him.
People get gifts on their birthday?
Yes, didn't you know that?
No, you didn't get gifts on your birthday.
Wade kept walking, his mind racing. It was nearly 6:30 p.m. and he just needed everything to go right for this to work. He didn't have time to stop and debate minor details.
I did, you just didn't see it. By the way, your birthday is June 19th, right?
A quick short nod.
Good.
Wade muttered under his breath, mentally reminding himself to commit that date to memory, so there was no chance that he would have to have this situation ever again. The next thing he needed was a few small gifts. He briefly thought about Legos as he was very aware of how much they both loved those, but after the fiasco less than 2 weeks ago, decided against it, at least for the time being. Wade was deeply considering what else might work when he stopped in front of a small display of stuffed animals and looked over the options.
Am I going to get this treatment on my birthday?
Picking up a small stuffed golden dog, Wade decided it was cute enough and tucked it under his arm before he started walking again.
If that's what you want,
Shadow's head bobbed up and down.
I would love gifts and cupcakes.
then we'll do this on your birthday.
After a few more minutes of quick thought, Wade grabbed up a book on basic gardening, a planter that had "My Plants Understand Me" written on the side, and a white orchid that Silver had admired the week before. He had no idea how to care for it and hoped the book would tell them, or he would have to do some frantic Googling later.
Alright, I think this is good. Which one do you want to give him?
But it's from you.
I know, but I want you to have a gift to give your brother.
Oh, okay. The dog.
A thought suddenly struck him.
Do you want to get one?
Wade asked. So far, Shadow hadn't shown any interest in having a stuffed plush toy, but if he wanted something comforting that might make him feel better, Wade would have happily gotten it for him in a heartbeat. The darker hedgehog glanced back for a long moment as uncertainty played across his face.
No thanks.
Alright, if you're sure.
Wade said hurriedly, paying for everything and tucking them inside the bag gently.
Come on, let's go home. There you have something very important to do.
And what's that?
Taking out his keys, Wade shifted the bag from his left arm to his right.
Keep your brother busy while I wrap these.
Why?
That's what you do with presents.
Wade explained as they left the store to return home. Wade's plan lasted literally for 20 seconds, as Shadow took the stuffed plush dog from the bag and offered it to his brother the second they walked in the door.
This is for you. For your birthday.
Sitting up from where he had been reclining on the couch, Silver took it.
Really?
Oh, well, I guess we're doing this right now.
He sat down on the couch and offered the shopping bag to the gray hedgehog.
Happy birthday, Silver.
Silver took it eagerly and pulled out the plant.
The orchid, the white one.
You like it?
Yes.
He put it aside. He next took out the book.
But?
Reaching for him, Wade pulled him onto his lap and opened the book.
It's a book about gardening because I know that you don't know anything about earth plants and I don't know how to garden, so I figured we should probably learn.
Wow.
Silver said and then grabbed the last item.
What's this?
Wade turned it in his hands so he could see the letters, even if he probably didn't know what they said yet.
It's a planter. You can put plants in there to grow, and it says "My plants understand me."
His gold eyes were shining with joy. The look on his son's face was enough to make up for the fact that less than an hour ago, he had been crying because he thought no one cared enough to remember it was his birthday.
Thank you.
You bet.
Wade sighed and hugged him tightly and smiled when he heard a soft clicking noise. Wade still wasn't sure why he made those noises, but his son was beaming, so it had to mean it was a good thing.
Although, buddy, in the future, please just tell me when something's wrong and don't be all cryptic. Dads need reminding of some stuff too. If you communicate, especially beforehand and not afterwards, it makes things a lot easier.
Silver nodded solemnly.
Okay, but Tom said friends and family surprise you on your birthday.
That is true, but they have to know the date. Tom knew about my birthday. You told me once it was in April. You never mentioned what day it was.
Well, you didn't tell us about your birthday.
I don't mind if no one celebrated it. You mind, buddy. If a similar situation comes up in the future, let me know next time, okay?
All right.
From over by the table, Shadow was putting plates down without even being asked. He stopped and crossed his arms, glancing at them.
Can we eat now? Please? I'm hungry.
Yes, but
Wade took out his phone and fired off a rapid text.
first, there's something else.
He said and grinned at the knock at the door a few seconds later, at both of their wide-eyed looks of surprise.
You guys better go see who it is.
He watched as the two of them hurried towards the door to wrestle it open, at Silver's cry of delight to see who was on the other side, as the three of them started chatting excitedly. Somehow, the day turned out better than he could have thought. It wasn't the evening he had planned, and he had definitely been far more chaotic than he could have dreamed of. But it somehow had all worked out. Life had a funny way of doing that.